All right, the Minister of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga, joining us now. Minister, thank you very much. Are you disappointed we're going up instead of down?
Definitely, any loss of life is disappointing. We would have wished to have an Easter weekend that is safe and without any fatalities. That we actually increased the figures from where we were last year to where we are this year. Definitely that is disappointing. However, we still want to thank our motorists who ensured that they abide by the rules of the road, but also our traffic officers who were out to ensure that those that are using our roads do that in a lawful manner, but also in a safe manner. But indeed, the increase is just disappointing.
Yeah, and is it as a result of more accidents on the roads or simply as a result of higher traffic volumes and therefore more people involved in what happened?
It's a combination of both. Definitely, if you look at the numbers, in fact, if you look at the numbers that we have already in South Africa, they are increasing each year. But also in terms of the information we gathered from our gantries, but also toll plazas and from Sandra, they indicated that there were quite a number of people who were traveling during this Easter weekend. If you compare that with the figures in the previous years, of course, informed by the lockdowns and so on and so forth, that of course will be the issue. Yeah. But of course is lawlessness, people driving at high speed, people being drunk, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the fact that human factors account for 96%, that tells you that we're not having it right, and the challenges are with our behavior as motorists.
All right, let's bring that up. I mean, you raise things like pedestrians being involved in accidents. You raise things like high speed. However, this behavior can be stopped. You can have speedometers, you can have police out in force, you can have pedestrians moved off the roads. So to what extent are authorities not doing their job? I mean, if you look at pedestrian fatalities, I remember we used to have campaigns specifically aimed at pedestrians and alerting people about the dangers of where they work. It seems like even that has gone quiet.
As a matter of fact, it hasn't. But if you look at when did these accidents that involved pedestrians happened, they happened not on Thursday, but of course on Friday, in fact, in particular Saturday and Sunday. So you can actually tell that these are people that had arrived at their destinations, at their homes. The majority of them will be pedestrians that are crossing roads when they are drunk. The very first one that we saw in Gauteng, it was somebody who was crossing a freeway and the person was drunk. So this is a common feature in the residential areas. And I think you are correct. Maybe it's something that we need to heighten our focus on, but it's not like we have not been focusing on it, because it's even the previous years, the pedestrians accounted for more than any other road user, whether it is a cyclist or it is a driver or it is a passenger. So it is becoming a trend. And I do believe that we've got to do more. When we think that we've managed, because if you look at the figures on Thursday, in fact, we performed exceptionally well. On Friday again, but then things started to change on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, Monday was the worst of all the days. And you can actually tell that the reasons why we have pedestrians being high in terms of percentage is because they actually died during the time when they were already arrived at their destinations. The majority of them being drunk, the majority of them crossing roads or walking on roads with dark clothing. The majority of them being hit and run. And if you look at the causes as well, for the pedestrians, the majority are hit and run, which indeed is a problem. We have said we have got to look at the issue of number plates, because many of these hit and runs, they do so because they know that they can't be traced. They driving cars without number plates. And this was one of our focus areas during this Easter weekend.
So, Minister, I mean, you alluded to something that's important, that our roads are deadly all the time. Often we talk about the stats over a holiday weekend, but if we look at other weekends, the death toll is pretty high. Our roads remain deadly. You say more needs to be done. Of course, more needs to be done because the figures are going up. What is going to be done now?
One, we have got to ensure that we have a 365 days rollout when it comes to road safety. And I've emphasized this point. Of course, when it comes to seasons like your Easter weekend, like your Christmas, like your coming long weekend on the 27th and the 1st of May, for instance, then we've got to heighten that because our data informs us that during such seasons, we have more traffic on our roads, particularly our major roads. So we definitely have to respond to that as well. But then it actually says that we have got to enforce law. Because if people do these things and they get away with murder, then they will do it again. So the message that we have emphasized is to say we have the authority, we are government. We can enforce the law, and we've got just to do that. But also to have engagement with our counterparts to say these traffic offenses should also be taken seriously, even in our courts. We want to believe that until we have ARTO being implemented. But as of now, these cases, as they go to court, it would be good that they're taken seriously. I don't believe that a person who drinks and drive and kill people on the road, it should be that that person has actually committed culpable homicide. If you drink, you know you're committing crime. If you get into the car and drive the car, you know that you should not be doing that. And anything that happens thereafter, it should be taken seriously because it means you actually intended to do that. Otherwise, you would not have taken alcohol and then you get onto the road. So it's issues that we need to look at, but of course to work with our other counterparts. One other matter is that when there is an accident and people have died, it depends on who arrives first. And whoever arrives, it is health personnel. They simply focus on the injured because it's their mandate anyway. But in the process, you might find that it is that very driver who is drunk. But because the only thing that is focused on is the health of the driver without taking blood, then of course that can no longer be used in court because there will be no evidence that that person was drunk.
Okay, and again, it's about how quickly the authorities arrive, but we've run out of time. Thank you for that explanation. Just looking back at the stats over the Easter weekend, Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga.